Oh, hello there. Glad you can make it. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is the Super Guru, and welcome to the very first session of what I like to call Therapy and Panels. This is a show where we go through various comic book literature and analyze them on the emotions we feel through the characters and the stories. Because let's face it, depending on what kind of story you're reading, you can have a random reaction to it. Whether it be happiness, sadness, frustration, or most of the time on the internet, anger. And for today's session, I thought I would do a little exercise. Just do me a little favor and close your eyes. Go ahead. Yeah, just close your eyes here. I would like you to think of this scenario. What if Stan Lee, instead of working at Marvel Comics, decided to go over to DC Comics instead? What would the characters be like? Would they be the same characters he came up with for Marvel? Or would he analyze and create the very same DC characters but with a different story? Or would these same DC characters still be the same as we know them today? Now, go ahead and open your eyes real quick. We are to wonder no more, because today's session we're going to go through a series I like to call the Just Imagine Stan Lee Creates variations. And for this variation, I thought we would go with Batman. Yes, believe it or not, but this is actually a real thing. Back in 2001, DC came to Stan Lee and asked if he would like to write some stories for them. This idea perked his interest, and he was given permission to create stories on how he would have created some of the company's beloved characters, such as Superman and Batman, and he would team up with a different artist for each story that he worked on. For this one, he worked with Joe Kubert. So for today's story, let's see just how Stan Lee would imagine creating the Dark Knight himself. When looking at the cover for this, it's already a very unique style and look for what you would expect for Batman. We get a good look at the face here, and it's very, very creepy looking. Like, it's giving it a more of a bat-like look than what we know with Batman, with the ears and the eyes, even the little fangs right there. Side of this, side of the background there, just seems like Batman sleeping off. I'm not sure what that is. Some kind of scaffolding, and he's leaping it off through the city streets. Regardless of that, it seems like a very decent cover for this book. We follow the story of Wayne Williams, a young African-American man living with his mother in the bad side of LA. He works as a stock boy at a local store. He recently lost his father, who was killed in the line of duty as a cop, so he isn't doing too great, despite all of his issues. The next day, while at his job, Wayne looks outside the window, noticing the local gang leader Hans, spelled with a Z, because, you know, that's just how hood he is, walking with his girlfriend, and they were both about to get shot down through an attempted drive-by shooting by a local rival gang. Noticing the girlfriend about to get run over by the car, Wayne runs out and saves her at the very last minute. And for some reason, this seems to really offend Hans, as he goes up feeling offended that someone dared touch his girlfriend. Maybe he just has a fetish for his girlfriend getting run over by cars. I'm not one to judge. Anyway, for the daring to save the guy's girlfriend. And then following days, Hans decides to frame Wayne by staging a robbery at the store he works at, robbing the place and shooting the owner, leaving the gun in Wayne's hands. Wayne gets convicted of the crime and is sent off to jail, and is also assigned to work at the sewing machine, which he constantly gets ridiculed by the other inmates. During his time in prison, he befriends a little bat which he feeds the crumbs from his dinner, and a disgraced scientist by the name of Frederick Grant, who teaches him to not only train his body, but also his mind as well. During a prison riot caused by a demonic church reverend, something to be explained in future stories, I promise, Wayne manages to protect the warden just in time for the guards to regain control, and as a thank you, he is given a full pardon as gratitude. Fearing hands will be coming after him after learning he's been let go. He gets a hotel room and changes his look, and while finding a way that makes some money, he sees an ad on the television for wrestling, which gives him a very unique idea. Yes, I see. I'll hire professional wrestlers to go after heads. No, I kid. He uses those sewing skills he obtained in prison to create a costume so he can become a professional wrestler. And taking inspiration from the bat he befriended during that time, he becomes a pro wrestler known as Batman. He becomes a big success in the wrestling business, even gaining endorsements and making appearances on talk shows, while never revealing who he is under the mask. You just know somewhere in the multiverse, Spider-Man sees this and he's just like, what? How come it works for him? It's because he's Batman, isn't it? Once aware that Frederick was released from prison, he confides his story to him and gains his help on taking hands down by providing him gadgets based off his bat persona, such as night vision goggles to see in the dark, and a bulletproof protection because bullets still hurt, you know. Now that Wayne has all the necessary things that he needs to take on hands, it's time for some revenge. Will he succeed? Well, you will have to find out yourself by locating this book at your local comic shop or anywhere that sells them. What? I can't give away the entire story, can I? Anyway, this is a pretty decent story. The motivations for our hero are understandable, and it still gives the feel of vengeance that Batman is known for against the injustices. And Joe Kubert's artwork expresses the thoughts and emotions pretty well, in my personal opinion. If I had to give any complaints, I would mostly give two. The first being Hands has a very lame villain motivation. I mean, he goes after a guy, uses all this effort to just because he saved his girlfriend, the monster. The other one, without trying to give too much of the ending away, I would have to say is, I don't really see any reason why Wayne would continue his crime fighting skills. I mean, after getting your revenge on Hands, why not just continue being a professional wrestler, make a living off of that, retire, start a family and whatnot? You don't have any real with great power comes great responsibility thing. But I digress. If you ever find yourself in possession of this book, it's a good read while you're sitting there on the couch, have nothing to do at home, or just wanting to relax. Anyway, that is all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank you for attending the very first session. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, this is the Super Guru signing off.